Hello again, it's Partyfoot here with another game of Mechabellum. This time we're going for a little bit of a different strategy again. This time we're going to go for some Void Eye Mustang. I don't think Mustang is usually a very good starting unit, but I was interested to play some more Void Eyes because I swapped out the aerial tech for the suppression shots. And I'm going to see how it works to go for maybe longer range Void Eyes on the ground. So this setup is, I look at one of these defaults and think, no, I actually really want to play maybe a ranged game. Our opponent goes for steel balls and crawlers. Mustang's not very good against crawlers, probably okay against steel balls, to be honest. So his steel balls might not do too well. It depends how the chaff game plays out, though, I think. We grab some crawlers to complement this. Of course, usually good to go chaff if you don't have any in your opening pack. 3 sets of Void Eyes. We're going to put them in vertical stance so that when the balls come in to lock onto them, it goes 1 and then 2 and then 3, rather than potentially locking onto more than 1 at a time. And our opponent grabs a couple of marksmen to complement his side. Marksmen also not so good against Mustangs, so maybe Mustangs getting a bit more of a chance in this first round than they might usually get, with many opponents potentially being able to deal with them reasonably well. Let's see, no Arclight, for example. So we both end up playing quite far back, which actually plays into my idea for getting some value out of Void Eyes on the ground, but it does look like the flanks are going to lose pretty quickly because only a portion of our crawlers head out there, and then they're going to collapse in. Mustangs are getting to do some work, though. The opponent's steel balls were distracted by our crawlers that didn't go out to the flanks. Mustangs taking down what's left of those crawlers, and Marksman just not being able to find any good targets, barely doing enough damage to represent a single shot of his gun due to all the small targets, which is nice for us, even though he's just blinking away back there. Maybe two shots. 2 good shots. Meanwhile, our Mustang's getting quite a lot of damage. And actually our Void Eyes too. Who's this over here? 1 crawler. He did his unit proud, but unfortunately he came back to a reasonably barren battlefield from his allies' perspective. Round number 2. We're going to try to address this on the flanks. I think Missile Strike is still a pretty good option. We did have quite a lot coming in, so we thought, why don't we get some kind of chaff clear on the flanks? Drop the missile down so that it intercepts a pack of these crawlers as well as weakening up these steel balls. And then we're going to grab some hounds to put on those flanks and hopefully deal with this carpet of crawlers coming from both directions. And our opponent actually goes to even more chaff on both flanks, so that's going to be a full train of stuff coming into these hounds. And it might not even be enough for these hounds to actually deal with this. There's quite a lot of crawlers, especially now that they've leveled. Leveling the crawlers is an interesting choice. They did do a lot last turn, though. Look at that, 10,000. 18 kills. That's a pretty successful level 1 crawler pack. You'd think Mustangs would be good against them, and they did win the first round, but they did do pretty well. These leveled ones now are going to tank up these hounds pretty well and let this second pack enter the fray before that first pack even fully goes down. So we're still going to lose the flanks, but we continue to do really well in the middle as our opponent mostly focus on those flanks as well. So we're actually going to get out towards this tower while cleaning up most of this chaff. They get our tower as well, but it looks like we're going to come out ahead in round 2 as well. Mechabellum's such a fun game. I love that you can, the amount of variety you can have just off the bat. Alright. Next round. I'm always very attracted to Advanced Power System, but this time we go Intensive Training. Let's see if I'm going to be able to use this well. Sometimes I forget that I have it, or I spend too much money. I wanted to get some extra Mustangs to try and finish up these flanks, and I thought yeah, Mustangs aren't, incredible against crawlers, but all we really need to do is shift the momentum of these two fights, and I think they could, like, collapse back in our favor. Now, I think we're still probably underestimating these crawlers. They have 500 HP, so it's actually quite a lot of shots for each Mustang to take them down. I mean, even a full pack of Mustangs is going to take a quick moment to take down a single crawler, it seems. Or, almost. Our opponent is a giant specialist, so they pick up a Vulcan. I guess the Vulcan will be able to clear our Mustangs pretty well. I guess Void Eyes probably are reasonably vulnerable as well to that. But it is something more for our Void Eyes to chew on, which is quite serendipitous for me. These crawler flanks now are being able to be dealt with. We leveled the Mustangs on this flank, so they dealt with it a bit more powerfully than the ones on this side, which just managed to clear. And then we're collapsing in. The Vulcan, a pretty big unit to pick out of the blue, but not able to carry by himself because of, well, he's going to take a few guys down with him, though, here. Oof. These smaller sized units taking a lot of damage, but being leveled, the Mustangs actually take a little moment to take down for level 1 Vulcan, so maybe something like Scorch would have made him rush through that a bit better. 4 Fangs. That's pretty good. 3 Tarantula. I'm thinking, like, this guy keeps going into more chaff. I should get Tarantula. Perhaps I should have, like, thought about, like, the fact that I had kind of already turned the tides on the side. But I thought 3 Tarantulas is quite nice. I just put 1 in the middle, 1 on each flank. That's going to, even if he goes for more chaff, which he does, because I did expect that those Fangs could be pretty attractive. 4 drops is quite a lot. Our opponent seems to be quite fond of the chaff. He goes for a second Vulcan to even out his board. So he's actually got a few carry units here, and then a lot of chaff. So now not regretting the choice of going for Tarantula. We actually choose to level up the Hounds. Hounds obviously have that level 2 breakpoint against crawlers where they start one-shotting them, so that's hopefully going to do us quite a good deal on those. Our Rhino comes down from our Rhino Specialist. We pop it in the back. Maybe I could have put it a little bit further forward. I wanted it to grab the attention of the Vulcan, but I didn't want it to go down too quickly by being right in the front, and maybe I could have put it a little bit further forward to absorb some of that fire. Our opponent grabs the attack upgrade, and let's see how this round goes. Quite a lot of leveled chaff. I think leveled crawlers are better than leveled fangs. It seems to me leveled fangs, if you're going carry fang maybe, but maybe not going carry fang, they just offer more experience when they die. I mean, these fangs are getting an opportunity to shoot a little bit, so that's probably quite good for them. We've already got Mustangs, which are pretty good against fangs. Okay, Rhino is taking the attention of that Vulcan quite well, and we have a decisive victory again. I think these Void Eyes are doing a pretty good job. Let's see, leveling up that pack as well. We see Enhancement Module. I don't know, is Enhancement Module worth it for 300? It's pretty expensive. I don't really want to sell any of my units. Nothing's really worth a lot. I think I'd rather skip, get the money. Portable Shield is also very attractive, and of course Iron Blast is quite good. His units aren't that Iron Blastable, noting that we don't know about these Fortress that he's just placed down. So we end up kind of ooming and ahhing for a second. Portable Shield's also insanely good, but we skip so that we can level all of our Mustangs and also level our Void Eyes. I believe also dropping the range on the Void Eyes as well. So now we've got our kind of carry combination of Mustang Void Eye, which I think is actually a decent combination. It depends on if our opponent has any armored flying units, like Armored Wraith or Armored Overlord, which would of course be completely untenable for this setup. That's what I'm thinking anyway. We've got the Void Eyes, we can get additional range from suppression shots, and we can get charge shot, which could potentially increase our DPS quite nicely against these giants. Now that they're ranged, hopefully they'll fall behind all of our chaff, and we do pick up a little bit extra chaff too. Always good to keep filling that out, alongside a Rhino on the other side to potentially interrupt their Vulcan. Last minute, we also grabbed the attack upgrade. Big missile. Look at that. Taking both these marksmen down to a tiny amount of HP. It doesn't quite take them out, but almost, 2.5 packs of chaff going down. Getting a nice dispersion of our crawlers going through. They are pushing some of our Mustangs into the fight, which isn't so good, I guess. Something to be aware of that can happen. Void Eyes are getting nice uptime, though. Taking lots of DPS down onto these giants. Fortress, a really cool unit, but not so good against Mustangs and Void Eyes as a distributed force, where really single target damage isn't going to be the key. Opponent still has so much chaff. Look at this. He's gone for, Vulcan on my side would not potentially be a bad idea, but I've already kind of addressed it, I think. And here we're thinking, we noticed how well our Rhino was absorbing the fire of those Vulcans. So we decided to go for an additional pair of Rhinos and give them armor to try and continue that trend. I don't know about level 1 Rhinos. Level 2 Rhinos are expensive, but they're much more efficient for armor enhancement. Double the HP, double the effective armor as well. So maybe leveling them was probably better. But we also want to pick up all of our possible Void Eye levels. Grab the range upgrade and the speed upgrade. We still have these unleveled tarantulas. But they're still pretty good against this chaff. They should be doing a reasonable job clearing it out. Our opponent grabs the shields and more fortresses. Our unit drop Wraith coming in from the back. Kind of a slightly random addition that we popped right at the back to come in maybe a bit late and hopefully do some damage. It takes out a few fangs here and distracts these snipers from, our chaff with its body. I guess interesting dynamic. We are pushing through though, so wow, look at that guy. What a hero. He took down everything. And yeah, I think a really cool example of Void Eye tempo just with Mustangs there. Our opponent surely could have done some stuff against this. He kind of doubled down on the fortresses, but he did have fortress armor, which would have, I guess the Void Eyes were really doing decently here. We did have the suppression shots, after all. And I think in that last round, the suppression shots were really dragging those giants forward rather than allowing them to have a lot of uptime. Don't know exactly if the Rhinos were worth it. The Wraith did a pretty good job, though. Very much disadvantaged by its positioning, but, it did a good job. And our Mustangs, of course, doing fantastic here. Getting a lot of DPS down on these crawlers, and then eventually these giants. I have to feel that the armor would have been a good choice. Anyway, thank you for joining for one more episode of Mechabellum. Once again, thank you for being here and watching through the video if you have. Please like or comment if you would like, and subscribe if you want to eventually see more. I don't know how many videos I'll do as part of this kind of fun kind of hobby experiment. I guess we'll see if it becomes a long-term thing or not. Yeah. Anyway, I appreciate anyone who did watch, and this is Partyfoot signing out.